Imagine realizing half of your app core features are completely useless after launching. Wouldn't it be nice to have known that beforehand? It's a common problem. Business owners jump into app development without the clarity of core features. So they think all features are core features. And by them, I mean you. Truth is, with any app, only a few things matter. Nowadays, my team and I sit down with new clients to determine their app's core features. And if we can't align by the end, then it's a friendly sayonara. In this video, I'll be walking you through this process. It's just 4 steps. By the end, you will have clarity. This is all you need. And if you need convincing, stick to the end where I share one of the most painful learning experiences early on in my career. A client insisted on tons of features from the start. It all went to shit, and 4 years later, I still have an unpaid invoice for $20,000. Let's save the trauma dumping for later and get straight to step number 1, identifying your user personas. A user persona is a fictional representation of your ideal client. At Upstack Studio, we give them a name and combine our own first-hand research and second-hand information to create a profile that includes demographics, background, goals, pain points, tech savviness, and motivation. Remember, the same person can have multiple personas. A woman can be a mother, a business owner, and a yoga enthusiast. 3 separate user personas, each with their own goals, pain points, and motivations. Which of her personas are you selling to? The more specific you are, the better. People ask me, Adrian, can I have 2 user personas? And I go, 2 user personas? Absolutely not. Then I slap them in the face like that Batman and Robin meme. Then I'm like, oh wait, you can have 2 personas, my bad. Look, you can have 3 personas, you can have 4, you can have as many as you think is necessary. But there must be one primary persona representing the biggest pool of potential users. Also, subscribe and leave a like. Don't make me go Batman on you with my hand of justice. Here's a sample user persona we came up with once for a guy named Chad. I'll link to it in the description if you want to read about it in more detail, and there's a blank editable version for you to use for your own user persona. Once you have it, you go to step number 2, finding their most urgent problems. Zoom in on the pain point of your user persona. Some developers include it as part of the overall persona document. My team likes to give it a dedicated section. Either one works. In both cases, the goal is to identify the most urgent problems preventing this persona from reaching a goal. The goal your app will ultimately solve. Try to solve. We start by listing down all the problems they face. For the user persona before, this was one problem we identified. Then we keep going. What other issues are they facing within the scope of this goal? List them all down. When you feel there's nothing more, shortlist the top 3 most urgent. Don't think of it as if I solve this problem, my persona will for sure use my app. It's more like, if solving these problems doesn't convince my persona, nothing will. Why 3? Because the more problem you need to solve, the less attention each receives. Solving one problem perfectly will hook users way more than kind of solving 20 problems. I want you to focus on solving problems really well. And 3 is, in my opinion, the limit for most people. Once you're done, it's time for step number 3, defining your value proposition. By now, you know who you want to help and what you think they need help with. Time to describe how your app is going to help. For Chad, this is what we ended up going with. Simpler pain points can be solved with one value proposition. That's what we did here. But more complex problems could need a bundle of propositions, and it's always a good idea. In fact, I say mandatory to do competitor research. This is when you identify market gaps or unique selling points your solution offers. It doesn't have to be groundbreaking, but that certainly doesn't hurt. Most times, it's as simple as existing solutions being too slow, too expensive, too unreliable, or they don't offer enough variety. Maybe their customer service takes 7 ice ages. Check their Google and Apple App Store reviews. Check their socials. Ask people on Reddit. Every successful product has compromises a competitor can exploit. Once again, write down all the value propositions your app can provide, making sure the 3 pain points you shortlisted are fully addressed. Right now, you should be in a position where you know who you want to sell to, what problems they face, and what value propositions your app must offer. Now, time to give yourself a lobotomy. Step number 4, brain dump. The brain dump has 2 parts. In the first, you list out all the features your app needs to have. All of them. Don't ask questions like, will this be too expensive or is this practical? We have time to be rational later. For now, we brain dump. It's not unusual for a brain dump session to produce hundreds of features. Some people have been building an app in their heads for years. So it's like unclogging a blocked toilet bowl and everything comes gushing out. Remember that hippo farting video? I say this with love. It's gonna be like that at first. So let it all out. Let it permeate the atmosphere. Let it pollute the air. And give everyone in your vicinity an eye infection. Now go for a 5-minute break to clear your mind. Hug your kids. If you don't have kids, hug someone else's kids. If they get mad, say you're developing an app, they'll understand. Now come back and you have shit all over the place. Underneath that shit are nuggets of gold. To find them, you screen every feature with 3 questions. If I remove this, does my app still solve the persona's main problem? If I remove this, does the app still function? Did I list this down just because I think it's cool? You'll find a lot of features are actually unnecessary. In fact, a lot of them are there because you saw it on another app and you got a bad case of the FOMO. You've become a chronic FOMO-sexual. Well, I'm here to spread FOMOphobia. Once I had a brain dump session where the business owners listed 211 features. Developing it would have paid for my retirement. You'd think it was an app for rocket science, but it was just a recruitment marketplace. We crossed out features one by one and ended up with 103. Still a lot, but compared to 211, a lot less. It also meant much lower development costs and shorter development time, so they could go to market faster. And that's what all of you stand to gain when doing this. However many core features you think are needed, imagine realizing half of them are not necessary before you commit to development. You spend less, get an MVP out faster, and it's just as good. Besides, it's only when real users use your app that you really learn what the key features are. You might think, oh, then why bother with the 4 steps if it's just gonna change anyway? Launching an MVP will involve iterations, no matter what. But there's level to this. If you've done your homework, changes will be minimal. If you just spam features, the changes will be more drastic, more expensive, more time-consuming, and it's much more likely the project will stall. It's also more likely you'll run out of money halfway, like what happened to my ex-clients. Editor, cue nostalgic sound effect. It was 5 years ago. They got in touch with me and my team to build a location-focused job matching platform. And their idea of an MVP was very rigid. They wanted a lot of features that our team felt didn't really have to be there yet. Their USP was location-first job matching. So my team would have liked to launch an MVP with just that. But the client insisted on extra stuff like paid resume unlocking features for recruiters. They were convinced that unless their MVP had 1 million features, users wouldn't come back. Problem was, they also had a deadline. You can't have it both ways. You cut down on features or you push back the deadline. They pushed back the deadline. In the meantime, their existing business, which was funding the app, suffered internal issues and could no longer pay for development. If they had gone with our suggestions, it could have cost them about $35,000, and they would have had an app launch and possibly generating revenue if the idea was good. Instead, development cost had climbed to $70,000 and the app still wasn't launch ready. I invoiced them for the latest codebase and they just say, no, we can't pay. I still have the codebase today, completely useless. Don't be like them. Once you know your app's core features, the natural next step is creating an MVP. You could build a prototype app if you have the funds or the expertise, but if you have neither, there are actually a lot of different types of MVPs. You have landing page MVPs, newsletter MVPs, and I kid you not, a Wizard of Oz MVP. I cover all those and more types of MVPs in this video, complete with successful examples, and I recommend you check it out so you have a clear idea of how to take your app idea forward when the time comes. It's not just about building the app. Marketing is just as important, if not more so. If you found this video useful, please subscribe and leave a like. Let's check out some MVPs.